13. Plutarch said, "He who would do great deeds must expect great suffering." Keats said, "There is not a fiercer hell than the failure in a great object." If you knew my complete biography, you would agree with these poets. I went to Brazil in 1996, thinking to build a new lab in Roraima's jungle. The foundations for my bridge I plan to pour off the coast of Fernando de Noronha. What purpose would be served by building such a large structure as the Great Pontibus Bridge, you ask? Well, folks, it was a start on the realization of my vision. I was wealthy and famous. The time was right. I plan to reach the shallow depths of Liberia's coastline someday using Buckminster Fuller's sea anchors at the halfway mark. Deep ocean concrete foundations above the continental drift fissure made them unfeasible there. As things turned out, I failed to even pour the foundation in the shallow water near Brazil. My name is Larry Lee Slott. I was a molecular biologist 43 years ago, searching for a way to build the greatest structure ever conceived of in the mind of man. To explain my vision to you, I would like to use some biology and quantum mechanics. From the double slit experiment and cogent reasoning downstream from there, many scientists see evidence that consciousness is the fundamental reality in the universe. I think consciousness is also a derivative of entropy. Entropy created the universe. Dirac's equations explain this thought better than I can, of course. Delta plus mu quantity times phi equals 0. I think consciousness is manifested in our brains, but it's not produced there. Our brains serve but as an elucidating or a channeling apparatus using signals from a universal consciousness to give us imagination and volition, perhaps emotion. Our civilization has gone mad, justifying its insanity with a free will illusion. We consume like vultures in a feeding frenzy, never reaching satisfaction. We believe it is our right under the rubric of free will. Free will is like a great abyss within us. At present, our brains will not allow us to accept responsibility for our unrestrained consumption, free will or no free will. If we do not stop the rapacious insanity, however, it will worsen. My parents were poor, ignorant, fanatical, magical thinking, psychotic Calvinist Christians. Their illusions were drenched in the moral dogmas of superstitious swindlers long since deceased. What I learned in Vietnam's horror made beliefs like theirs untenable. Biology and quantum physics nailed the coffin shut on my former superstitions. In the process of ridding myself of religious delusions, I had to abjure the concept of free will. Even a rudimentary knowledge of biology and quantum physics cannot allow a belief in free will without a complete repudiation of reason and personal authenticity. Why am I discussing free will here? To allow oneself to fall under the spell of the illusion of free will leads to the desire to judge and punish. It makes persisting in atavistic avarice and sadistic cruelty constitutive and unavoidable. What is an even greater crime is using the illusion of free will to accept demented religious superstition, and then using it to justify wars to punish evildoers. Free will belief led to MIT's analytical mind's creation of the atom bomb. The bomb is the exact opposite of what I am trying to do. I wish to create, not destroy. Inspired creativity will build the great Pontibus. I wish to grow a larger planet with many more creatures to inhabit it. To preserve our living earth, we must stop glorifying destruction. We must see the energy currently wasted on militaries and sick religious latent desires for annihilation as anathema. Billions of people believe we will soon blow ourselves and the planet to hell in an Armageddon. Some psychotic religionists even pray for it. They use it to excuse Israel's rape of Palestine and the U.S. Federal Reserve's robbing and killing of the world's children for over a century. Only the sieve of the grave relieves the pent-up energy that would allow their dream to actualize. Without the free will illusion to blind us, can we build the greatest structure ever conceived of in the mind of man? I think we can, if you will but visualize my aspiration and believe it possible. I believe awareness is interpreted in our cortices in a way similar to what happens with a superheterodyne radio receiver transmitter. Perhaps the reptilian brain even uses something analogous to a master oscillator and IF tuned tanks to clarify our imaginations into concepts we can decipher. Perhaps the master oscillator IF neural network is the window through which consciousness and our self-concept comes into our brains. I believe this because I would like you to accept my vision into your own consciousness translating receivers. I want you to see the vision of my great bridge in your minds. What we all can visualize, we may more easily achieve. Consciousness implanted the desire in my mind almost a half-century ago, and I believe it did so to circulate it into a reality. Perhaps nature might have chosen a better instrument than myself. I will grant you that. But Gaeta said, whatever you can do or think you can do, begin it, for boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Thank you for listening.